Miss Errum, we are live. Yes, just a minute. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible to everyone. And welcome to the first session of our AI and research series, The Art of Prompt Writing, Effective and AI Instruction for Research. I'm glad to see you all here and ready to begin this learning. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible to everyone. And it's my pleasure to introduce you today to my speaker, Ms. Sanaa Ilyas. Ms. Sanaa is an educator and AI and education trainer with more than 13 years of experience across Pakistan's public and private universities. She currently teaches at NUCES FAST, Islamabad, and also serves as a strategic programs coordinator and AI ed training lead at Skilling Future. In these roles, she leads AI powered training programs and designs learning experiences that builds educators' capacity and promote future-ready teaching practices. Her work spans from national and international platforms, including the Open Cubed programs and Relo and US Embassy, where she contributed to students' upskilling and AI integrated curriculum development. She also serves as the country's representative for Women Extension, advocating for equitable and future oriented education. I am Errum Ahmed, the Head of Research and Policy Development at Women Ascension, and I'll be moderating today's session. My role here is to guide you through the conversation, support you through your learning, and make sure that we get the most value out of Ms. Sana's expertise. I might want to add one thing here that we will be taking questions at the end of the session. So if you want to speak live, then raise the hand and wait for your turn, or you can share your questions in the chat box. Thank you for all joining. Let's get started.
Thank you so much, Errum, for the wonderful introduction. And it is always great to come back to Women Extension for talking about different things, having a webinar, focusing on upskilling. So I'm glad to be back among some amazing fellows. So the purpose behind this webinar series particularly was that, okay, how is it that when we are talking about AI, we are talking about research, how is it that we can become more effective within the process? Whether you're a graduate student, a supervisor, a seasoned researcher, or someone just starting to explore research for the first time, you've probably felt this moment. You have a topic in mind, you have an idea in mind, but it's fuzzy. You know there's something, but then it's not clear yet whether or not should you go in that direction, because when you start your research, that's a more of a broader idea that you have in your mind. And then how is it that you're going to delimit it, whether or not am I moving in the right direction? Because when you're starting off with research, you're really very ambitious and you want to pick up everything. But then good researchers focus on something that is really small in the start so that they can explore that area really well. So the task is not, or the purpose is not to explore so many things altogether, but to figure out how is it that we can find an area, we can find a gap within it. So this is where AI basically becomes the game changer, not as a shortcut, not as something that is going to generate your whole research for you, but as a thinking partner. In today's session, I'm going to help you explore how AI can become more of a reflective partner for you. Because Errum has done the introduction, we are going to move here. AI can work more as a reflective partner in your research process, the partner that asks you the right questions, challenges your assumptions, helps you structure your ideas, and supports you in clarifying your questions. AI won't tell you what you to research about. That's your task. But it can help you understand what are the different areas that you can explore within the context that you're working in. And that it can help you build your understanding more with respect to developing rigorous research questions and other things as well. So, the first thing that you basically need to understand is that prompting is a conversation. Prompting is not about telling AI, okay, give me a list of research questions. Do my research for me. It is more or less about research is all about mindset. And integrating AI in research is going to be more about how we effectively use AI as our research partner. So the most powerful prompts, especially for research, are going to be about conversation. So we always want somebody who, oh, we want to run off our idea with you. Uh, okay, can you give us more clarity? Am I moving in the right direction or not? So this is where AI can work, not only as your sounding board, but it can also help you give clarity with respect to what you're working with. So it is all about asking AI to ask you questions. This is one of my favorite techniques, and this is something that I most of the time use for gaining clarity. Second is about that, okay, letting it challenge your assumptions. A lot of times we have assumptions about a different research area or a concept that we want to work on, but let it challenge you and then see that, okay, are there any other dimensions? Are there any other things that I'm not looking at? Um, it can also allow it to uncover some blind spots. At times, there are certain key areas that we have overlooked, maybe a stakeholder within the process that we have not covered, an area that we are not looking at. So, this is what it can work with. Along with that, it can also help you define context and feasibility. Is that research area broad within the time frame that you have? For example, if you just have one semester for research, are you picking up a project that can be completed within the same time? Or are you picking up something that is out of the scope of that time and maybe you don't have enough budget for that? So, this is something that you can explore along the way. So, so prompting is not about instruction giving, but it is about having that intellectual, so again, that intellectual dialogue. So the aspects that you have to consider while you are considering prompting is that it is definitely the aspects that you need to consider is that AI is a partner. It's not your replacement. AI is going to be your amplifier, not an author at the moment. And it's going to help you with your thinking process, not do the thinking for you. That is where you need to come in. You need to critically evaluate the responses that it is going to give you, whether or not am I moving in the right direction? Have I pivoted from the initial direction or the initial idea that I had? Uh, Also, when you're talking about or when you're thinking about AI as a thought partner, which is what we do need to think about, that okay, it's not just there to cognitively offload. Okay, it's going to do my thinking for me. It's going to do my work for me. You think of it as a collaborator so that your ideas become clearer, your assumptions become more visible, your research direction becomes more grounded within the context, whichever area that you're working in. For example, you're working in HR, you're working in policy development, you are working in, uh, maybe you're working with respect to community outreach. Within your own area, wherever you're working with, is that viable? The direction you're taking, are the stakeholders the same, are the issues the same as somebody else who has explored that in another country and in another context? And your questions can become sharper. But before starting off with this process, there are a couple of things with respect to ethical responsibility that we do need to keep in mind. Number one, always verify AI outputs. It is not, it always says that, okay, it can make mistakes. It can hallucinate information. Even though the models are getting better, but this is something that you would need to keep in mind that, okay, it is again generating information. it can create certain information that may not be true. So always verify outputs. Don't just rely on the AI output and consider it as true. Avoid and do not fabricate citations. Um, a couple of years back, or a year back, there was this issue that, okay, if you were asking it to give it a research topic, or you were asking it that, okay, this is what I'm working on, it would give you a chapter of a book that didn't, the book used to exist, but the chapter within the edited book didn't used to exist. It is getting better, but again, not 100%, we're still not there yet. Also, do consider be transparent in the process. If you're planning to publish your research, a lot of journals now are going to ask for disclosure that, okay, where within the process have you used AI? So be careful about it, that okay, and do tell people where have you used it, whether you used it in the brainstorming process, whether you used it for the editing process, where have you used it? Because that helps tell people that, okay, where the authors have used it and in what way have they used it. There have been some journals now are strictly regulating AI generated work. So you'll have to read the journal's policy with respect to what they're thinking about, where is it that they're allowing, and within a transparency or a disclosure statement, what would they require? So just whenever you're publishing or planning to publish your work, consider these components. And if you're planning to, do not put in any data that you're getting in. Do not put in original information. Do not put in your information or any participant data directly into AI before you need to code the data. Do not provide it with original, do not provide it with somebody's name, address, or any other information. Um, Code the data if you would want to, so that so if you want to get any insights from that. But even then, I would suggest that do not directly go ahead and then put all of your information there and expect it to provide you with the right insights. You need to have the foundational basics for you to be able to understand what your data says. So participant data and research integrity within that is going to be important. So again, consider AI as a thought partner, not something that is, or not something that's going to do your work for you. So let's move on to today's main aspect, that is prompting effectively. When I started my journey with understanding AI, one of the first courses that I worked on was related to prompt engineering. Because I wanted to see how is it that we can work or converse effectively with AI. And that is something which has helped me with my exploration, helped me work better with different LLMs. So when you're working with prompting, and what we're going to explore today is that, okay, we're going to explore what prompts are, guidelines for designing effective prompts, and we're going to look at a demo that talks about a workflow that you can utilize, you can have a look at, mix and match different things. So designing effective prompts. Number one, sometimes what we do, and most of the time, the first approach that all of us take while designing prompts is that, okay, chat GPT, tell me research questions on topic related to media literacy or media literacy. Sorry, I got disconnected. I am going to share my screen again. Sorry about that. Am I audible and visible now?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. Internet is being a little finicky. I do hope things move in the right direction now. Okay. Now, number one, understanding what a prompt is. A prompt basically is your conversation with any LLM. It's not just ChatGPT. There is up to you which LLM, which particular which particular one is it that you would want to use? You want to use Perplexity, you want to use Chat GPT, Claude, you want to use Gemini, up to you. So the basic structure or the basic ideas that I'm going to talk about are going to be applicable to all of them. Again, it is up to you what works better with your workflow. A prompt is any conversation that you're having with your LLM. Now, most of the time, what we do is we give it a very generic prompt. Now, if you're planning to do any research, we'll be like, okay, tell me a gap in media and representations. Well, that's such a big area. What type of gap are you looking for? Are you doing research? What within research are you looking at? You want to do quantitative, qualitative, mixed method research? You're looking at a PhD research. You want to work on policy development. What is it that you're looking at? So being specific is really very important. What do you want to do? Discuss it in detail. The more detail that you're providing with respect to what is it that you would like to do, it will help you more. Also, at times you can also specify it with type of the format that you would want. Now, sometimes when I'm working, I would tell it that, okay, I would want the information in bullet points, I would want the information in the form of a table, I would want the information in points and subpoints. So help me with that. Because it's not just about getting the information, it is also about having that information formatted in a way that it's easier for me to be able to understand what is going on. Then, along with that, provide it with context too. What happens is that at times when I'm talking about, again, I'm taking the same idea, media and representations. Now, media and representations, what type of representations am I looking for? Am I looking for gender representations? Am I looking for representations of, and even within that, am I looking for that in news, social media, web series? Am I looking for that in drama? So the more specific I am, the better we will be able to get the results out of the LLM, the more clarity it is going to give you. So provide it at context and tell what it is doing, what is it that you're doing and for what purpose. You're doing it for research, you want to write an essay, you want to develop a survey. So the more clarity you have at your end, the better results you're going to get. So I'm going to demo a few. I'm going to show you guys a few examples that will tell you what's the difference. What difference a generic prompt, which sometimes we usually use, and something that's more specific does for you. Some of my favorite prompting techniques are mixing and matching. For example, I adopt a persona or a role pattern. For example, assigning a role plus giving it context plus asking it to ask me questions. So this is something that works very well for me because if I want clarity on something, for example, I want to design a project for my student. I have an idea in mind that, okay, I want to work on short form content, but I'm not clear with respect to where is it that I would want to go. So I'll tell the LLM, okay, this is what I have in mind. And this is the audience that I have. But then, okay, ask me questions so I gain more clarity with respect to what type of project is it that I can design. This is the time that I have. So what it does is within an iterative process, we will be able to identify what is it that we want to do. This usually never happens. Okay, I'll try turning off my camera so we can particularly so this hopefully doesn't happen. Again, what I've seen is expect the unexpected. So what I'm going to do is I am now going to demo effective versus ineffective prompts. I'm going to show you on ChatGPT, because again, a lot of us use ChatGPT, but you can use any other one as well. Up to you guys. Okay, let me share my. Okay. My screen is visible. The window is visible.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you also see my document?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay. Now let me show you one of the first one. Usually this is an approach a lot of us would take. Write a research question about AI in education. Write a research question about media and represent language in media, framing in media. So something like that. For example, let's put this in ChatGPT. Okay. And it is definitely going to give us a couple of answers, but I want to show you what's going to be some of the differences with respect to that, okay, how it's going to answer, but because it knows me. One of the good things about ChatGPT is the memory aspect, and it knows that, okay, this is how I would approach, but then also have a look at. It's given me a list of questions organized by themes you would choose according to your project's focus. Now, these are a lot of questions that it has asked. Now, they are going to be more generic in nature. How does the integration of AI tools, this is what is happening from this element of assessment and integrity. Now, I want to show you that, okay, what happens when I put in something like this. So this is going to be, look, this has a role, act as a research mentor. This is in persona pattern. I'm interested in AI in higher education. Generate 5 research questions that focus on measurable variables, feasible data collection, ethical considerations, relevance to university students in, if I want to specify a country, and include a 1 to 2 line rationale. Now, look at I'm going to do that in a different window so that I can show you. I haven't, okay. I had to add in a country here. Okay. You can insert now. Let me go ahead. Okay. For example, if I add in Pakistan here, and then we send it, you're going to see a difference between the responses that you had earlier and the responses that you are going to get now. There, I got a list of all of the possible questions that were there. Now, here, what you'll basically see is that, okay, it's giving me how does the use of generative AI tools influence students' academic progress. It's giving me measurable variables and the rationale that is it. And this is just one. I can pick up one question and work on it even more that, okay, what are the other key areas what are the different things? How is it that I can do this research? Now, if you look at these are list of questions. I can again pick a list of questions from here and I say, oh, I like this area, help me work on it a little bit, help me work on it a little bit. So this is what happens with something that is a generic question versus something in which you have assigned a role, you have given it context, you've assigned it that, okay, this is what you would have to do. Now, for example, I like this area, for example, this one. Okay. Now I say, what type of research design research can be designed on this question for a research paper? In what way will it contribute to ongoing debate and discourse? I could have added again more questions. If I'm planning to get to know an area, there's also ways in which you can do that. Now, this is it's suggesting me that okay, this is what you can try. It's up to me whether or not I want to test it out. I don't want to test it out. I don't like it. I can also question it. Okay, you've suggested this, but I don't think so within the gap that's present in Parks and the digital divide that's there, that may not work out. And it's also telling me why it works. Now, if you can also have it critique it for you that, okay, I'm picking this area up. My research supervisor is a little picky. My research supervisor is very strict and identifies even the minutest of issues that are present. I need to have very strong rationale with respect to why I'm working in this area and how this research design fits in very well. Again, it's going to ask you questions about that as well. So just showing you one of the examples, I'll show you one more example. Now, what we usually do is summarize this article. Okay, summarize this article for what? You want to summarize this article in what way? You want it in a paragraph form, you want it to highlight 4 to 5 key patterns. What is it that you would like to do? The more specific you guys are with respect to your prompts, the better answers it is going to give you. Um, Now, let it. Okay, this is going to be one more. Tell me about the problems in digital well-being. Again, something very broad. But if you're planning to conduct a research, you can start off with a broader area and then you can delimit yourself with respect to, okay, these are some of the things that, okay, major problems in digital well-being. It's going to give you a list of things that are there. You can also ask it, okay, give me answers in a more structured format, give it to me in the form of a table. Again, showcasing what a generic prompt versus a more detailed prompt can help you do. Now it's talking about physical education, privacy. Look, it's all about, look, any prompt can get you from point A to point B. The thing is that, okay, with something that's generic, it will take you a little bit of a longer time to get you to get you from point A to point B. Again, iterate, start off with something that maybe is general, and then go more basic. Now, again, the same one. I want to explore the topic and ask one question at a time. This is basically this is one of the prompting techniques that is a mix of Socratic question and a flipped interaction pattern. One of my favorites. Okay, I want to explore, and this is what it's asking me: who are you considering as your target population within the university? Undergraduates, postgraduates, and I'll say okay, undergraduates. And every question that it's going to ask me, it will help me. Okay, in what setting do you want to study? Multiple, public and private. In okay, maybe within Pakistan. Okay, what's the main purpose of your research on data? Are you aiming to measure current state, identify predictors, evaluate risk, design intervention, understand student? I want to understand student perceptions and design interventions. Okay, these are the two areas that I picked up. I can talk about it a little bit more. And then it asks the 4 questions. Now think about it, every question that it's asking me, it's helping me with more clarity that, okay, now what is it that I can do more? What specific aspects of digital well-being that interest you more? Screen time, AI tool dependence, social media presence, academic burnout. So the more it's going to ask me questions, and then it will help me develop more clarity with respect to what is there. Now, if you're thinking about a research area, you have a broader research area in mind, and you want to delimit your topic. I think so. This is a good technique that you can try. Now, you can state, okay, I'm working on a research project in this area. For example, you're working, for example, within policy development, or you're working within, for example, you're working for digital well-being. You're working with respect to that, okay, how we can work towards providing better health facilities or for for women in your area, and you want to work on something that's more practical in nature. It's at times because we would want to work on multiple things. Start off with something that is small, doable, practical with respect to research. The purpose of research is not that, okay, we pick up something really big. When you're starting off, start off with something simple. Now, for example, you have looked at a pattern that okay, in what way within media female politicians are talked about, what type of adjectives, within what type of adjectives, descriptions, men versus women are there. Now you've seen that, okay, there have been different researchers. What's a different angle that you can pick up? Or I've been really interested in media representations. One of the areas that I'm interested within representations are ethnic representations. Plus, I'm also interested in how uh, differently abled people are showcased in media. What type of representations are there? Are those roles actually given to people who are differently abled, or are the roles usually given to other ones? You can also look into mental health again. Help it ask it to ask any LLM to ask you questions so that it helps you develop more clarity with respect to what is there. So this is what effective prompting can do for you. Now let's explore one more. Okay. Instead of this, give me research questions for my thesis. Now, if I put this, it does know, ChatGPT does know what are the different things that I really enjoy. Uh, so it says that, okay, digital well-being, because the question that I used, the prompt that I used beforehand, it was about digital well-being. So it's giving me questions related to that. So these are broader questions that it has given, and it is working towards it. Versus the other prompt that I have is act as a research supervisor. Break my topic into sub areas. Identify the main variables, identify the core problem, generate 3 different research questions. One descriptive, one comparative, one causal, and show me your reasoning step by step. Now, if I use this, okay, and I'm going to go ahead here and I'll say the first question that we had picked up, the first area that was here, this one. My question is, now you would see that, okay, it is how it's going to then, the way that I've asked it to structure the questions, that, okay, break my topic into different sub areas, identify the main way, look, sub areas, usage pattern behaviors. I can look into types of support, writing performance dimensions, AI literacy and competence, main variables. Again, at times we are worried about what type of variables we can use or we cannot use. The core problem is there, the 3 research questions. And because we've talked about that, okay, give me a descriptive research question, a comparative research question. So descriptive, what are the current patterns of generative AI usage for academic writing among undergrad students in public and private Pakistani universities? Why this research questions, variables, feasible or not? And we can also ask it that, okay, what type or how much time do you think this research study can take? And what is a sample that I can take for my research? And you can talk about, okay, whether or not, how many universities you would have access to, whether or not do you want to look at the gender-based perceptions of certain companies. So comparative research question is also there. Causal research question is also there. You want to work on any other aspects, it can also do that. It can also do that for you. So again, with respect to research questions, always do keep in mind that the more you're going to explore, the more you're going to experiment with different patterns. You adopt in a persona pattern, have it ask you questions. Along with that, have it critique you. Now, for example, I pick up this area. I'm going to show you one more thing. Okay. Okay. Now act as my research supervisor who is very critical about research and how that adds to ongoing debate. They like unique but practical ideas that are grounded in theory. This is the research question I am thinking of. Now, I could also talk about that, okay, this is what their perception of AI is, or this is what they're thinking about, and just showing you that, okay, on just that, okay, this isn't, I didn't pick up anything from all of the other prompts. Now, supervisor's critical review. And it's also given me weakness. Just think about it before going to your supervisor. Okay, have it question your thought pattern. Okay, what are the different questions that it's asking me? Am I clear? Ask me questions about my research. Main weakness. It doesn't explain yet why those patterns are there. It doesn't test a mechanism, model, or relationship. Global debates. What kind of global debates? Is it that, okay, it only connects to debate number two, theoretical gaps. What theory anchors patterns of usage? Now it's also telling me what is there. How to make this question publishable and meaningful? It's giving me options related to that as well. Um, and then also other things. What are the other things that my supervisor is going to ask? How is it that, and then it's given me a stronger research question as well. And I can look into it. Okay, it's asked what are the patterns of generative AI used for academic writing among university students and how do technology acceptance, belief, and academic integrity attitudes predict usage frequency, purpose, and disclosure more focused. So we started off with, again, even though it was a basic question, it was focused. This is helping me become even more focused. I can also ask it, what are the other things that I'm missing? For example, I'll say, okay, so it will tell me that, okay, yes, these are the things that I have not considered yet. So when you're starting off with your research, use it again, as we talked about, use it as a thought partner, use it for clarifying your thought process. Okay, what is there? What is it that it can help you with? I'm going to show you one workflow because what I've learned over time is that, okay, you need to try test different things out, what works, what doesn't work, and then see how, and then interchange between different patterns, different prompting patterns. How will you measure your definition of academic writing performance? Again, these are what is going to be my definition? Am I going to design something? Am I going to pick up a definition that's already present? What theoretical framework am I going to use? Again, this is very important. Sampling strategies, controlling for prior. So just have a look at what are the different things that it has asked me, and I hadn't considered. Now we are enthusiastic about our research topics and we're like, oh, this is what we would want to do. But then have we considered all of these factors before jumping and committing to a topic? What are the different other things? What are the feasibility? What is the practicality of the key area that I would want to work on? Okay. So and again, it's asking me, I press you on these 5 questions. Now, because I had given it, okay, because I know at times when you go to supervisor, they'll ask all of these questions, and then at times we're disheartened. Oh, we worked really, very hard, we're passionate about, and then we really are committed to our topic. But then if you're committed to our topic, where is it that we would want to move? Where is it that we would want to move next? This is how AI can help you develop clarity for your topic. Let me show you one more thing. And this is okay. Um, I was working with it earlier and I wanted to show you this workflow. This is basically a quadratic questioning pattern. I have a broad interest in AI adoption in higher education, but I'm not sure what angle to take. Use quadratic questioning and ask me a surface level question, a structural question, a deeper conceptual question, and a critical assumption checking question. Now, if you're still thinking about what topic you would like to work on, what area, broader level area you would like to work on, just put in your area somewhere here and start. And this is the first surface level question. And it asks me what specific situations or experiences have recently made you curious about. I answered it. It then asked me a structural question because it was part of the prompt that I had given here. It had given me, okay, then I gave it that, okay, what the structural answers, what are the answers that I've seen. You don't want to type, you can maybe you can give it a voice, you can have a conversation with it. The deeper conceptual question it had asked, along with that, a critical assumption questions. Um, and then when it asked me, what if the core barrier isn't literacy or time, but something deeper, such as an institutional culture, incentives of fear or losing? And then I asked her, oh, I hadn't, this is what my perception is, this is what's ongoing. And based on my answers, this is the angle that it gave me. That, okay, your core angle is this. And within this, it exposes these structural fractures within higher education. And it also told me what are the four possible angles that I can pick up. Do I want to pick up a systemic angle? Do I want to? I would want you to test it out uh, and have a look into how it works for you for an area that you are planning to work with. Um, what are the? And again, it asked me that, okay, what is the direction that you would like to change? And I said that, okay, based on my answer, the next one was um, identify 6 to 8 potential sub areas or research directions I could pursue. It had given me 4 areas. Use a short rationale for each and highlight underexplored or emerging areas. And most of the time, when our supervisors, somebody's asking, okay, why is it that is there space? Is this an unexplored area? Is there a gap present there? This is how, and it gave me 8 areas. That, okay, it gave me a research and it's talking about whether it's emerging or underexplored. And I'll tell you and I'll show you one more thing. Just because I a lot of time ask my chat GPT to give me a table, give me answers in a table form, it gave me answers in a table form. If you are not in the habit at the moment of maybe asking of giving it of asking it to put the answers in the form of a table, do that. Because for me, I like things that are really structured. I need to get a bird's eye view of what's happening. If that is the type of information that you would require, do go ahead. This is the summary, gives me an idea. Oh, this is an area that I can work with. Assessment design is an area I can work with. Discipline specific AI pedagogy is something I can work with. It's still emerging. So these are the things. Now, another one is this is chain of thought prompting. So chain of thought prompting is basically it divides information in different parts and it breaks it down and then it asks you, okay, this is what I would do. Another thing that I would maybe add here is before I start off with something, and this is what I worked on next, is basically with respect to the context. Now, all of you within the countries, within the spaces and communities that you're working with, it is important that we start looking at those areas because each area's dynamic is different with respect to resource, with respect to what information is there, what information isn't, what is prioritized, valued, the type of resources present. So look at all of that and then see whether or not what you were planning to work on, a research that you have been inspired from, whether can that be replicable. If not, what's a unique angle that you can pick up? So for today's session, I'm just wanted to talk to you guys about that. Okay, how is it that we can effectively, number one, start thinking about our key areas? What areas is it that I can work with? Going towards a larger research question, because the main research question, what is there? And then from that research question, how we can frame that within our own context, plus then figure out what our objectives for our research are going to be, and then also have it critique similar to how our supervisor would do. That okay, whether this is a workable area, not a workable area, you can do other things as well. For example, as a skeptic, maybe assign a role, maybe do other things as well. You are looking at data analysis. Do you have a data available? Again, in the third session, we're going to talk a little bit about data insights. But again, we're starting off with number one, you have a broader area. How is it that we narrow it down and then figure out what is actually an area I want to work with? So, um, assessment design, I picked up the select area. I picked up whether convert the problem into three types of research question: a descriptive, comparative, casual. And I could maybe add in another one. Again, main variables, and then talked about the central problem. And then it gave me the different things that are there. Read it, understand it. Do you think so it's moving in the right direction? If it's not moving in the right direction, tell it, okay, this is not the direction that I want to move in. Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's move back towards the next, back to step number one, and then move from there. It gave me a research question. And then I said that, okay, let's pick this angle, how higher education institutes are currently responding to AI generated work in students' assessment, and what assessment practices are commonly used. Evaluate each research question based on clarity, measurability, feasibility, and alignment with research ethic. Give me a short verdict plus revision. Evaluation, yes, clarity is there, but on which institutions, what level counts. So revised question, it gave me, what do I want to measure? Again, a revised question was there with respect to feasibility, in which country or region. And that is when I was coming here, I realized, oh, I hadn't given it the context yet. And context is really important, because the context will help me determine, again, whether things are moving all right. Okay. Then I said, this is the ask me questions about my context so we can further refine the angle. Because with the context, it helps you see, okay, do you want to look at schools? Do you want to look at private schools, public schools? You want to look at colleges? You want to look at universities? Because I work at the university. That was an angle that I wanted to. That was an angle that I particularly, and that these are the questions. It asked me these questions, and I responded to the questions in this way. That okay, and up to you. You want to answer them one by one. Usually, this is a process that I follow. Ask me questions, and I list all of the answers. That okay, if I'm clear, if not clear on something, I'll say, okay, what do you suggest? And it says that okay, great, your answers give us enough to lock in tight, researchable, and high impact angle. Again, this is something based on my context. A refined research angle was given to me, a clarification, a question that again it recommended me what can work out, what cannot. Again, up to me whether or not I think is it a thing that I can pick up. So once you start working with uh, AI for your research, you can use different prompting techniques, mix of prompting techniques to go from a broader research area to something that is more feasible, workable, practical, and also researchable. Because sometimes a research question would look really nice, but then when we start working with that, we end up realizing that, okay, that is not a researchable, that's not a researchable area. Okay, so I know we just have 12 minutes left. So if you have any questions, let's address those. And if things were not clear, also let me know about that as well.
I just want I just want to add, Miss Sana, that the session has been really great so far. I think so. I learned a lot, and we have some good questions that we went through. So thank you for this session. So that if anyone has question, you can your hand or you can ask question in the chat, and we can take it from here.
And also let me know what are the different techniques that you guys use when you're working, and what is it that you would like to explore, how is it that you also approach your discussions with AI? No questions?
No
Okay.
questions. I'm also very okay.
Okay.
So there's a small
Now,
feedback form.
uh,
So sorry, Miss Sana. There's a small
no,
feedback
you
form
can
which
continue.
we would love for you to fill. I'm sharing the link in the message in the chat box. Do fill it.
Kanvi has a
Yes,
question.
Miss Kanvi. Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Miss Errum. And thank you, Miss Sana, for a very insightful session. And I just wanted to ask that you, in the initial slides, you have specified that one should verify, right? Whatever we get from uh, the AI thing. So can you please elaborate it in your way, since you are expert and in action with
Uh,
that thing, so that we can get our
Okay,
loopholes. So I just wanted
sure.
that.
Now, when I say verify information, I basically mean that, okay, if it is giving you any research, any results, or it is claiming anything, kindly go and check the research papers, go check the resources that, okay, whether or not is that information accurate. Now, let me tell you, Kab, I was working with my students on their presentations and I wanted to have a look at, and that, okay, they needed to pick a different angle with respect to everyday objects. And one of my students had picked up glasses, the reading glasses that you have. And within that, they were like that, okay, we want to work on that. And I said that, okay, can we work on a different angle altogether? And I went to Claude and I said that, okay, can you tell me the history? What are the different angles? Okay, what's the history? Where did it start off with? And it said that, okay, somewhere around, I think so, it gave me the reference for Spain. Some either Greek or Spanish reference was there. Now, a lot of people who have read Muslim history, or who have talked, or who have read physics, or who have read physics, especially in Pakistan. Now, there is the first chapter, it talks about that, okay, where different modern inventions and where they can be traced back to. And from that, I actually knew that, okay, where the origin of the looking glass actually is, whether it is in photographs, whether it is somewhere else. So when I asked it and when I told it, oh, no, that's not the case. From what I remember, isn't this person actually the originator or the creator of this? And they said, yes, that is what the case is. Good, you caught me on my mistake. Now, this is something because the AI models are trained on more, or are trained on the information that is available on the internet. A lot of the information is going to be from a lot of Western centric perspective. So if you're going to talk about your context or your history, if that information is not on the internet, there is a higher possibility that it is going to get those things wrong. It can be with respect to some misalignment. It can just have the information that is quite famous and present there, and not the information that is on. So that's why you need to be careful about that if you're asking anything related to your history, your context, your community, and if there isn't, if you the AI model has not been trained on that, there is a higher possibility it's going to end up giving you the wrong information. So this is why we need to be careful about be careful and verify the information that it provides us, because a lot of that is going to be based on assumption. There are times is also a cutoff date for the data that it is trained on. I hope that clarifies the question.
Yes, ma'am, perfectly. Thank you a lot. I'm really grateful that Miss Iram has organized these thing and she has invited you, and it is always a pleasure to hear you. And I'm looking
Same
forward for the
goes.
other session tomorrow also.
Same goes.
Thank you,
Okay,
ma'am.
Nupa says,
Thank you, Miss
sometimes
Iram.
I give it examples. So give to give me back as example is Nupa. Actually, this is called one-shot prompting. This is called one-shot and few-shot prompting. And this is sometimes that I also do. That okay, I really like something. For example, I've designed something and I feel like okay, I would want something similar. I've designed a quiz or something for my students. And like, oh, I do like this. I like the complexity level. I do like the structure as well, or I like the complexity level. For another one, I wouldn't want the complexity level to be same as well. So I give this an example, and it's a very good way of ensuring that there is consistency. You can use the table. You can ask it to give it to you in the form of a table. You can ask it at times to maybe generate an image as well. But there, with generation of image, one of the things is that there can be maybe some of the errors um, with the spellings. But yes, we will definitely talk about. Okay. No, Nupa, do not share personal, do not share any, for everybody, don't share any private information about yourself or anybody else, uh, of, of, or anybody else on any of the AI platforms, despite, unless and until you have your own private server on which the information is, all of the information that is here, even though we say or state that, okay, don't use our information for training, it does save that information within the memory or any other thing. So being careful is a better substitute, because there are also now laws in different countries where now different chats can be used uh, for any different chats can be used for different purposes, not only for training but also by the enforcement agencies as well. So you would be careful about the type of information that is being put or that is being put there. Because again, it's still in experimental stages. It still needs data to train itself. So don't share your personal information, no address, no any other thing.
Miss Sana, there is a question which I would like you to answer really quickly because we have to end our session. So the question
Yes.
is that you have been talking about a lot of LLMs. So are all the LLMs going to give us the same answer, or are they different, or is any better, or can we work with every LLM in the same way?
Okay. That is a great question. Okay. All LLMs at the moment are different with respect to the information that are there. In some cases, you put in a generic prompt and it's going to give you a similar information. Now, with something specific, now if you're going to go to Perplexity is more is going to be research based. It's going to give you sources from the internet. Now, with Gemini and with ChatGPT, uh, again, there's going to be a difference with respect to the training model, with the model that you're going to pick up. 5.1 responses versus Gemini. Gemini 3 is out, but there I have heard that despite their claims of saying that okay, it's really good on reasoning at the moment, there are still the responses are all over the place. Now, if I'm starting off with something and if I want to conduct research, I would start off with ChatGPT and then also compare responses with what Perplexity is giving me. And then if I want to get and then see that okay, if I pick up an idea and then maybe I go to Claude and then see how things are working out there. I always compare and contrast answers and see which gives me a better analytical response. So if I'm looking for something that's more writing based, um, uh, it's going to be my Claude is going to be my go-to. I want something that's more interactive, that understands me, remembers me, my style, my preferences. I'm going to stick to ChatGPT because I don't like the limit in Claude. And then Gemini definitely has gotten really good over the past couple of months. They are working on that. The good thing about Gemini is that you can generate images within that. Along with that, it gives you an audio overview. You can design flashcards as well. The guided learning mode works very well to help you understand a key area. So definitely, there is going to be a difference in the quality of responses for all of these. So maybe start off with ChatGPT or Claude, and then go ahead with other models, and then see, okay, how is it that it's working out? Okay, Gina says that, okay, is there any specific of academic while using Gemini? Hmm. In what way? May I get a little bit of clarity with respect to what type of specificities are we talking about here? Um, okay, one more thing. Claude at the moment, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, they are connected to, or they can within the deep research mode, scour the internet as well. Claude at the moment may not be able to. Claude at the moment is a little limited within that capacity. It does have information, but one has to be careful and then again cross verify. Again, my go-to, if I do one, two, three, Claude is my number one. For when I work on content, when I work on key ideas. But then if I want to go from a larger area to something specific, I may start off with ChatGPT and see how it works out. At times, ChatGPT frustrates me. I'll move on to Gemini, I move on to Claude. So test different things out, just don't stick to one. But keep in mind that, okay, do disclose and do remember where you've had a conversation. Because sometimes we really like a response and then we forget, oh, where did we have that conversation? Keep the chats with you because sometimes you may need to use these chats or give the reference to these chats, or maybe share them with your supervisor if you feel like that, okay, they can give you a better insight also with respect to your process. They can do that. Again, focus on developing your workflow, focus on developing your research. Okay. Okay, not Kena, one of the things that I'm going to say is, do not use these tools to write all of your research for you. Take these that, okay, get ideas from there, because AI detectors, because again, any AI generated content definitely is going to be flagged in AI detectors, and you don't want your hard end work to get flagged there. Now, with respect to content and or teaching content, for teaching content, what type of teaching content? If it's all about designing worksheets, then again, my process is going to be different. And again, I go for different other tools as well. If I'm planning off with starting off with, again, when I talked about I'm thinking of a project, then sometimes I'll go to Claude because um, again, I really like the responses. I really at times like the more of the formal academic nature that of things that are there. I like the response quality. So I'll go there and then I would move and I would switch between Claude and ChatGPT, because what happens there at times is that I feel like, okay, it's not understanding where I'm going, and I'll move to ChatGPT and say, okay, this is the idea that I have. What are the possibilities? What are the alternatives? What's a creative twist that I can add? So I keep on switching between different AI models. So which tool is more relevant? Again, would depend on what type of task you're looking for. What is a prompt that you have given? So prompt also matters a lot. Sometimes a basic prompt difference between a basic and a very well defined prompt can create a big difference with respect to what type of response you're looking for. So with respect to teaching content, what is your own resource, which book you guys are using, and then along with that, what you want to amplify with AI. I at times use Gemini and Claude, and I design different interactive activities for my students there. Or I'm like, okay, I want to use different examples in class. Okay, give me some ideas for examples. Or I want to design a worksheet for my students. These are the ideas that I have. I want them to think critically. I want that to be based in this. I want that to be scaffolding. So again, it's an iterative process. It's not going to give you the right response or the response that I like. It has rarely happened that I like the first response. I iterate. I'm like, okay, these are very simple answers, and let's go towards the next one. Okay, this is okay, the answer statements are longer than the distractors. I want each statement to be of equal length. We go back. Then I go to the key and then I realize, oh, all answers are B's or C's. Okay, vary. We go back again. And then I realize, okay, these concepts have not been addressed. I go back again. So it is always an iterative process. Do not just stick to the first answer and say, oh, I didn't get the right response. Iterate the process, go back to the board, and then have this conversation. Oh, this didn't work out? Let's go back. I feel like I'm still not clear. Learn. Ask it to help you with gaining more clarity. Ask it to ask you more questions. Why is it that we are still confused about it? Where is a key area that I'm looking at? So this is where it's definitely going to help you with that.
I think so. We should end the session. So, thank you everyone for being the part of today's session. And a special thank you to Ms. Sana for sharing such clear, practical insights into how AI can strengthen our research process. I hope it gave you a better sense of how intentional prompting can improve accuracy, depth, and efficiency in your work. As we move forward in this series, I encourage you to participate what you learned today and bring your questions, reflections, and experiments to the next session. We'll share the next session details with you soon. Until then, stay curious, keep exploring, and feel free to reach out if you want any guidance from us. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. See you guys tomorrow.
See you, Ms. Sana.